missing ingredients, not plating on time, attempting to use the ice cream machine. There are plenty of mistakes contestants make in the high-pressure chop kitchen, but you won't believe which one Geoffrey Zakarian says is the biggest. Given some of the wild ingredients chop contestants have to use, you might think the judges wouldn't notice if a chef didn't add enough seasoning. But according to chop judge Geoffrey Zakarian, leaving out the salt is actually the biggest mistake that contestants make on Chopped. And it's a mistake you may be making at home as well. Chopped contestants have a lot to deal with. Not only are they under a time crunch, but they also have to combine what are often bizarre ingredients into some type of delicious dish, with barely any time to brainstorm after learning what their baskets contain. So it's understandable that sometimes chefs forget the details, even the most basic ones like adding seasoning. And according to Zakarian, that's exactly what happens, as the contestants simply don't use enough salt and pepper, the two most essential seasonings in their dishes. In April 2022, Zakarian wrote on Twitter, "The biggest and most frequent mistake on Chopped is not seasoning enough. Salt, people, salt." And he's not the only chop judge who thinks so, as it comes up a lot on the show.
My only issue is there's just not enough salt.
There's good reason for their insistence on salt. Salt is such a critical addition to any dish because of the role it serves. As Fine Cooking explains, salt is essentially a flavor enhancer and will amplify all the other flavors you've cultivated in your dish. It can also balance out issues with particular ingredients, taming the flavor notes in a dish that may be erring on the side of overly bitter or sweet. In terms of salting your food, the timing is almost as critical as the amount. While you can tweak your salt levels by adding a bit towards the end, you should be incorporating it from the very beginning. Salt that's added earlier can really penetrate your food, whereas adding it at the end ensures it just coats the exterior, creating a less balanced flavor. Plus, Zakarian recommends using kosher salt, which can even add a bit of crunchy texture to your dish, and which can ensure you don't oversalt your dish. Zakarian suggests that home cooks often hold back, as they perceive that chefs are a bit heavy-handed with the staple seasoning. Of course, even if you use kosher salt, you could still oversalt your dish, but not to worry, there are ways to fix it. One method involves diluting the salt quantity by doubling or tripling whatever you're creating, so the salt in the dish is more balanced. This can be done by adding in a flavorful liquid, such as unsalted chicken broth, or tossing in a few additions, such as vegetables or greens, to balance the salt out a bit. If you don't want a supersized batch of food, or you're making the type of dish where it's not easy to add liquids or bulky ingredients, there are a few specific add-ins that may do the trick. On an episode of Chopped, Chef Mark Murphy suggested yogurt could help to both dilute some of the saltiness as well as tame it, courtesy of the tangy flavor. And chef and television personality Giada De Laurentiis swears by a bit of lemon juice, with the acidity balancing the salinity. A small amount of sweetener, such as sugar or honey, might also work to counteract excess salt. As with all cooking, you want to make sure you taste your dish as you go. This way, you'll avoid reaching the point where you have to save the dish with a salt taming hack. If your recipe calls for a certain amount of salt, consider not adding it all at once, as it's far easier to add more than to take it away once it's already incorporated. You should ideally add the salt in stages as you cook for best results. Technique also matters. The higher you raise your hand to sprinkle that salt into your dish, the more evenly you'll incorporate it. There's a world of salt out there, with tons of varieties to try. So add a little flavor to your next dish, because if you don't, Geoffrey Zakarian might just get a little salty.
The whole dish suffers from a lack of salt.
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more MASH videos about your favorite food show hosts are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.